are ready.
Experts say the fastest batted baseball a pitcher can react to is 97 miles an hour. This translates to less than 4/10 of a second. Picture yourself delivering a pitch, blinking, and then having a baseball hit you in the face. It is a very scary thought because the reaction time is so quick. This situation occurred recently when Ben Gethard, an 11-year-old pitcher, was struck on the left side of the skull by a baseball hit from an aluminum bat. The velocity off the hitter's aluminum bat was estimated to be over 75 miles an hour, which fractured Ben's skull and paralyzed his right hand. Tim Gethard, Ben's dad, was quoted saying, "Those aluminum bats are pretty lively nowadays. You could hear a solid thud." The term bats being lively refers to the increased speed and power of the baseball coming off of them. Doctors are unsure if Ben will make a full recovery. Each year, baseball players around the world suit up and participate in a game known as America's pastime. As the use of aluminum bats has increased, more players have sustained serious head injuries. Today's athletes have grown into bigger, stronger players, and this can be seen from the power behind their hits. In addition to the dangers of aluminum bats, players who aspire to play professionally, meaning play at the highest possible level, are not being prepared to use wooden bats, while pitchers, the person delivering the baseball to the batter, are at a disadvantage. As a baseball player, I've seen many of my teammates and opponents become victims of thunderous line drives, meaning a ball hit off the bat gave the fielder little or no time to react to. I've also seen the impact that aluminum bats have on player performance, including mine. This has led me to research the differences between aluminum and wooden baseball bats. Today, I would like to convince you that baseball should convert from aluminum baseball bats to wooden baseball bats. Throughout my speech, I will explain the dangers of aluminum baseball bats, the impact they have on player performance, and explain why the benefits of wooden bats outweigh the benefits of aluminum bats. It only takes one game, one play, or 1 second for a player to have their life or even their baseball career stripped from them. Let's start by looking at the dangers of aluminum baseball bats. As I analyzed the results of my survey, I found out that most people in this class either have no opinion or believe baseball should not convert to wooden bats. While a few of the people had heard about the dangers, the majority had not. Through advances in modern technology, bat manufacturers have been able to create aluminum bats that weigh less than wooden bats, yet still meet size requirements for Little League, high school, and collegiate players. The use of aluminum bats are used at all three of these levels. In journalist Jack Carey's article, he stated 9 million high school and over 500,000 collegiate baseball players participate each year. In addition to the number of high school and collegiate players, the official website of Little League Baseball stated in 2010 there are over 700 Little League organizations with 2.5 million participants worldwide. Lighter bats allow for greater bat speed and a greater hit ball velocity. The exit speed of a baseball coming off an aluminum bat is 5 to 10 miles per hour greater than that off a wood bat. In other words, the difference between arrival times from a ball being hit off a wooden bat compared to aluminum bat is only 1/5 of the time required to blink an eye. Aluminum bats also have a trampoline effect, which means the bat compresses and springs the ball forward at the point of contact. This allows the ball to come off the bat with more speed and power. Wooden bats cannot compress because they are not hollow. The impact of a ball off a wooden bat is not as powerful. The barrels of some aluminum bats are 1/2 inch wider in diameter, which increases the size of their sweet spot. The sweet spot refers to the middle to upper part of the bat where the majority of the power is supplied. Also, aluminum bats are lighter than wood bats and most of their weight is in the handle. This allows for players to swing much more quickly. Since the ball leaves the baseball bat with higher velocity than would from a wooden bat, there are greater dangers to defensive players. 75% of all baseball-related injuries to Little League pitchers are due to the impact of batted balls. There are 170,000 head injuries that occur each year in baseball, making up 86% of the impact injuries in Little League baseball, and all Little Leaguers use aluminum bats. Experts who test aluminum bats have seen at the high school and collegiate levels baseballs coming off the bats at 108, 110, and sometimes even 114 miles an hour compared to the 97 mile an hour reaction time. I'd like to tell you about another incident that is similar to the one I mentioned in my introduction. Cole Schlesinger, a 15-year-old Little Leaguer, spent 4 days in a coma and another 6 weeks in the hospital after he was struck in the head by a baseball. When he awoke from coma, Cole was not able to walk, talk, and the right side of his body was paralyzed. Despite 9 hours a week of rehabilitation, he has trouble walking and cannot use the right side of his body. Cole's father, Scott, was quoted saying, "Short of losing one of your kids, this is probably the worst nightmare I can imagine anyone having to go through." Imagine your child someday being placed in a similar situation. Would you still believe a baseball glove was good enough, or would you be concerned about their safety? Furthermore, now that we have seen the dangers of aluminum baseball bats, let's take a look at how they inhibit player development. Although the potential for injury is the most important factor in limiting the use of aluminum baseball bats, there are still other reasons for converting to wooden bats. Studies have been conducted by bat experts that have shown a hitter can make contact at almost any point on an aluminum bat and still achieve the same effect as hitting the sweet spot of a wooden bat. This statement has been confirmed mainly at the collegiate level, where batters' statistics, meaning offensive production, has increased. Over the last 5 to 10 years, batting averages, scoring, and home runs have skyrocketed. In addition to being dangerous weapons, aluminum bats have also proven to be disadvantage to the college pitcher. Collegiate pitchers have to develop new strategies when facing players with aluminum bats than they would with players with wooden bats. This is creating developmental problems for players who are trying to make the transition from collegiate baseball to professional baseball, where only wooden bats are allowed. There are also batter developmental issues which plague players who use aluminum bats. Many players who aspire to play professionally have been using aluminum bats all throughout Little League, high school, and college. However, at the professional level, like I mentioned before, only wooden bats are allowed. Wooden bats are much more challenging to use and take time to become accustomed to. Banning aluminum bats and converting to wooden bats would allow players to become more accustomed to a realistic success rate, which would closely resemble professional baseball. Now that we understand how aluminum baseball bats interrupt player development, let's take a look at a real example. Marshall McDougall, former second baseman for Florida State University, was a victim of this situation. During McDougall's final collegiate season, he had a record-setting 28 home runs and a .419 batting average. Despite such an amazing season, professional scouts were reluctant to draft him, and he fell all the way to the 26th round. He proved scouts right, because in his first year in the minor leagues, a league in which players who aspire to play professionally play before they get to the big leagues, he had a .248 batting average compared to the .419 average he had in college. In addition to McDougall, there have been many players who have not been able to make the transition from aluminum bats to wooden bats, and their careers have ended as a result. Now that we have seen the consequences of aluminum bats, let's take a look at the benefits of wooden bats. I know most of you are probably thinking that wooden bats are much more dangerous, and I see where you're coming from. Wooden bats have a tendency to break and send sharp shards of bats flying everywhere. Also, the cost of wooden bats can sometimes be more expensive because they tend to break more often. I'd like to explain the reasons for wooden bats breaking. The majority of wooden bats break at the handle, where the diameter is the smallest. When players get to the professional level, they like to shave down their bat handle in order to have a larger barrel in order to increase their swing speed. Pat Holman, journalist for Popular Size, said if you combine a large bat barrel with a small handle and a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, you will see many broken bats. I understand that wooden bats can shatter at times. However, the benefits of them in the long run will keep players safer and better prepared. The number of pitchers being struck by line drives would reduce, and the number of brain injuries caused by aluminum bats would decrease substantially. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission's National Electronic Injury Surveillance System reported 17 deaths nationwide between 1991 and 2001 related to batted balls. 8 from aluminum bats, 2 from wooden bats, and the rest are unknown. The transition to wooden bats would keep players, coaches, and fielders safe. This would allow for a longer reaction period, and the ball would not spring off the bat as quickly. With that being said, baseball can also create a rule that states players cannot shave down the handles of their baseball bats. This would create an even barrel, meaning everything is square, and preventing players from swinging as quickly as they currently do. This would reduce the number of baseball bats that shatter into tiny pieces. Baseball could also require specific testing that would involve people making a thorough analysis of the baseball bat before it is shipped out to the teams. Lastly, by using wooden bats, players who have dreams of playing professionally would be able to adapt to the challenges of using a wooden bat. These players would learn at a younger age the proper mechanisms of swinging a bat while learning how to deal with a less enhanced performance. This would also give pitchers an equal opportunity. They'd be allowed to challenge the hitter, not have to worry about the batter hitting a home run off them each time. These changes seem necessary for players who want to benefit in the future. From this evidence, it is clear that players will be able to adapt easier while still being able to play at a high level. So today, I'd like to urge your support that baseball should convert from aluminum baseball bats to wooden baseball bats. When you consider the amount of serious and sometimes deadly injuries that aluminum baseball bats have caused and the player developmental issues, it's obvious that there needs to be a change. As fans of baseball, we want to avoid the tragic stories that I mentioned earlier. Wouldn't it be nice if everyone can compete safely yet still at a high level? I know that if you ask the young boys Cole and Ben that I mentioned before if they were using wooden bats, their answer would be an immediate yes. Their lives changed forever since they were struck in the skull by a baseball. Also, if you ask Marshall McDougall, the former second baseman for Florida State, if he was using a wooden bat throughout his college career, the answer would most likely be a yes. Imagine being struck with a line drive that is too quick for immediate reaction. Your life could be changed forever, and there could have been something done to prevent it. I want you to ask yourself the next time you attend a baseball game using aluminum bats, is the use of aluminum bats worth the dangers and disadvantages they create? Thank you.